New Job. Oh, sugoi.
では最初にですね
Nice, Mann. Die Animationen sind mega nice. Ah, ich lieb's. Ich stehe ja total auf 2 Schwerter. Also in so gut wie jedem Spiel, wo ich irgendwas mit 2 Schwertern spielen kann, spiele ich das. Deswegen ist das hier ziemlich exciting für mich. Viper nennen die das, okay.
So it was designed to cater to those players around the world who have been asking for a new dual-wheel job that's different from Ninja.
Yes.
This is the Viper's job-specific gear.
Jetzt bin ich mal gespannt, ob das auch das Scouting-Zeug ist, was der Ninja auch trägt. Würde ja Sinn ergeben.
So the Viper's role is melee DPS with the gear type falling under the dexterity melee category or the same as Ninja.
Okay, wie erwartet. Alles klar.
And Vipers will utilize dual blades that are unique to the job. And of course, Viper will not have any required class. You'll start with the job.
いずれかのジョブレベルが80になっていることです
And the only prerequisites for use being that the players have, of course, purchased Dureal expansion and have at least one job at level 80.
クエストの開始地はウルダハを予定してます
And the starting location for the job quest will be Ulda. And again, the job should be available immediately at Dureal's launch as long as the aforementioned prerequisites are cleared. So if you want to play the whole Dureal main scenario as a Viper, you can do that. So a Viper will use a pair of one-handed blades to attack their foes. But they can also combine these blades in a single two-handed weapon to deal heavier blows.
そして特徴的なのがですね、常時ヘイストがかかっているジョブになる。
Also wahrscheinlich sind alle Skills, die so ein bisschen höhere Potency haben. Wahrscheinlich ist das dann mit so einer Kombination aus beiden Blades.
That they feel like they already have haste cast on them. And so a Viper also has the ability to summon this special power to temporarily enhance themselves. Kind of like you saw with that aura that they had in the trailer. So basically, you're getting that extra DPS.
ウェポンスキルの間にアビリティを挟む頻度というのも
So Viper is a technically demanding yet highly stylish melee job that affords frequent opportunities for players to execute various abilities in between the weapon skills. All right, the development team is working hard to create something that lives up to your high expectations, so please look forward to it.
ありがとうございますでは
Ja, mega nice. Also gefällt mir sehr gut. Gefällt mir sehr gut. Vom Stil und vom Design her.
Alright, so now, with all that I've just explained in mind, let's take one more look at that video. Roll it.
Here we go again. Ja, ich glaub, das wird mein neuer Main-DPS. Ich glaube, da werde ich vom Samurai weg und das hier. 2 Schwerter. Ist einfach zu geil, Mann. Samurai hat auch ein Skill, wo er 2 Schwerter benutzt, aber er hat nur eins.
They did a really great job with the cosplay.
Es ist halt cool, dass er bei dem Cosplay die Schwerter auch wirklich kombinieren kann.
Be careful, calm down. So now you all know that Dureal will feature not one, but 2 new jobs.
Green Mage.
All right, and you already know that the second job is to be ranged magic DPS. But as for what that job is, well, other than the little hint I dropped back in Las Vegas, you're gonna have to wait until Tokyo. Sorry.
Ja, es gab auch am Ende der aktuellen Story noch einen Hinweis dafür.
So with the release of Part 1 in patch 6.5, you got a glimpse of where the story will be taking you. But it will be the release of Part 2 that you'll better understand what's in store for you and the Scions and how everything in Dawntrail's main narrative connects together. So the Warrior of Light has been asked to sail west across the Indigo Deep to assist in a rite of succession for Dureal's throne. And of course, all the Scions will be joining the Warrior of Light in Dureal, but not all will be on the same side for the upcoming contest. Okay, so we asked the same question in Las Vegas, but we want to ask all of you, who do you want to be with you when you're done the contest? Scions. Alize?
一番最初にアリゼっていう声がありま
I
す。
heard Alize first.
No.
He's really excited.
Bitte nicht.
いや、いろんな
I'm really happy that you all love all of the Scions so much.
誰が
But we can't tell you now, but who's going to be on your side? Who's going to be the opposing side? You'll have to wait to find out. So the main narrative theme for Final Fantasy XIV 7.0 is a journey of new discovery. And as always, we plan on providing players with a full standalone RPG's worth of story and experiences with this single expansion. What, however, will that story entail? What is this contest? What adventures await in this new land? And what is this city of gold that Emmett Selk talked about? And of course, we have a lot of other surprises. I can tell you right now, they're going to be big ones. I mean, I know you guys really enjoyed the Hydaelyn Zodiark series, but we have something that's even better waiting for you in Dawntrail. We hope you enjoy it. All right, so next up, let's talk a little bit more about Dureal, and we're going to start by expanding on some of the info that we released back in Vegas. So up until now, we've spent most of our time on the 3 great continents. But as we talked about last time, our adventures in Dawntrail will be taking us far to the west. But again, this doesn't mean that we've seen all of Hydaelyn, most of Hydaelyn, not all of Hydaelyn. All right, so next we're going to talk about that main hub, the main city player hub that the Warriors of Light will be operating from during Dawntrail. So this city of Dureal will be far different from the existing player hubs that the players have seen before. So the last time we were only able to show you the city via screenshots and artwork, but this time we've prepared some special in-game footage.
Oh shit.
So with that in mind, roll the tape. So before we continue, we had a little message from Soken, our sound director. So he asked me to tell you that the music playing in the video is just a mock-up.
なのでもっとすごくなるから期待しててくださいとのことです。
And that the final track will be a lot better. So as I mentioned before, the city is far different from the major cities on Hydaelyn. It is a culturally diverse, pluralistic state. So that massive 2-headed Mamulja that we saw the Warrior of Light fighting with in the trailer, that's the current ruler of the nation and king of the Mamulja, Galul Jaja. But the Mamulja aren't the only peoples living in the city. On top of that, it appears the city has an established trade route with Old Charlian.
ご覧いただけたんじゃないかなと思います。
So in that walkthrough that you just saw, you saw that there were no NPCs there. Those will be added later. But hopefully you got an idea of what the town will look like and all of the high quality of all of the objects that we have thanks to our graphical update. So next I'd like to introduce you to some of the new areas that you'll find in Dureal. Okay, so first we're going to start off with the two areas that we talked about in Las Vegas, Urkopacha and Yaktel. And since we talked last, development, of course, has continued, and we are ready to show you some in-game footage. Roll it.
Ja, das Grafik-Update, man merkt schon, dass was passiert ist. Man merkt es schon auf jeden Fall. Gerade am Gras und so. Ist das mein Final Fantasy 14? Was?
Again, what you saw is still under development, but we've worked really hard on these areas, focusing on creating landscapes that feel even more real and natural than ever before.
Ja, also mir gefällt's. Das ist ja wirklich gar kein Vergleich zu dem, was wir vorher hatten.
I mean, it's a little bit hard to tell in this video, but we've been taking full advantage of that first graphical update coming with Dureal, that you're really going to be able to notice this when you get in and play the game.
Ich meine auch der Charakter selbst, wenn man da mal auf die Details von diesem Mantel guckt und so. Es ist halt super obvious, dass das jetzt um einiges besser aussieht.
We're going to bring you something new, some new areas, especially for London.
Ooh.
Okay, so Kozamauka is a very dense jungle located to the south Tural's capital city of Dureal. All right, so the unique rock formations that you saw in the trailer are located in this area, and they split the jungle into upper and lower areas through which countless rivers flow. And there are a lot of waterfalls in between the upper and lower areas as well. Several different peoples call this region home, meaning there's much adventure to be had. So the screenshots that we have here are from the area's lower elevations.
Das ist in-game, ja.
We were able to create a new type of area that feels very unique from the areas that we've created in the past.
Oh, Melania.
As you can see, special attention has been paid to lighting to create this perfect atmosphere. And here is the jungle in midday. And so the waterfalls from the upper elevations feed the countless small rivers that flow out of the jungle to the sea.
Ja, jemand im Chat schreibt gerade Xenoblade. So ein bisschen, yo. Schon so ein bisschen Flair.
And so on the right, you can see a small village, and even in that tree in the center, you can see a small building located within the tree.
7 out of 10, too
And
much
so we've
water.
zoomed out a little for this next shot.
Danke, Adrian.
So from here, it doesn't look that dangerous, but you all know what lurks in the shadows, so let's move on to our next area, starting with some artwork.
What?
In-game, secret?
Oh,
Secret.
it's a mistake. The bug.
It's a bug. Oh no.
Es sieht fast so ein bisschen aus wie im Western oder so.
Completely different from the previous. And so we have that big secret. That's not a
High
map
noon,
object. That's
baby.
not going to be in the real game if that wasn't obvious.
Texas. Chat schreibt Texas. Oh nein.
ものすごく重要なものがあるんですけど
So yeah, what we have there is something that is very, very pivotal to the story. It's a huge secret, and we didn't want to show it here because we wanted you to experience it in-game, so I made sure that they put secret up there.
プレイヤーの皆さん
New job
ご自
looks
身で
kinda
見て
boring
いた
to
だ
be
けたら
honest.
なと
Get
思って
out of
対応さ
here,
せてもら
dude.
ってます
All right, so the name of this area is Shaloni.
トラ
Shalom.
ル大陸中央部に広がる荒野
So it is a relatively flat, rain-starved region in central Dureal. But here, civilization is experiencing a boom due to a recent discovery of ceruleum deposits.
Next ultimate
So
raid
basically,
is
there are these
Ohio.
kind of
Oh
springs
Gott,
where the
Alter.
ceruleum bursts up through the ground.
Die ganzen King Colas im Chat.
So again, we mentioned summer vacation before, but the more we see of Dureal, the more we realize, the less we understand about Dureal. All right, but let's take a look at some in-development screenshots.
かなり広い荒野が広がってますね。
So yes, unlike the dense jungles that we showed before, this area is a lot more open. So yeah, it looks like this would be a good place to break out your motorbike mounts.
Stimmt.
技術進歩というのが目覚ましく出ています。
Looks like my backyard in
So yes, you'll see
California.
a lot of
Okay.
newer technology and machines, as well as encounter the people that built them. Again, as I said before, this area also hides a very, very big secret, but one that I won't be showing today. But again, we won't be talking about it today, but there may be some things, some hints in other things that we have for you today that may give you a better idea of what is in that secret area. Of course, it's not all empty wastes out there. The area features locations such as this one too, that are populated by a variety of peoples. Right, as for what drama awaits you here, as well as the other areas that we showed today, you'll just have to look forward to it. So moving on from areas, next up we'd like to talk a little bit about the types of peoples that you'll meet in Dureal. So this next one, some of you may recognize them, and they are called the moblins.
Recycled goblins.
So they strongly resemble the goblins that reside in Eorzea, but they have their own unique characteristics. And let's take a look at those characteristics. So these moblins mainly reside in the previously mentioned jungles of Kozamauka. So, and unlike the goblins of the three great continents who are expert builders and tinkers, these moblins are experts in gathering and procuring items. And so with these moblins and allies, just think of all the wonderful things that adventurers might create, especially our crafters and gatherers. Now, I'd like to talk more about the other features and content that await Warriors of Light in Dawn Trail.
Okay. Was? Es gibt mehr Level?
ついに皆さんのレベルが100に到達することになります。
So as you know, we'll be taking the level cap into triple-digit territory, level 100, and that's thanks to you. How far do you want to go? We're at 100 now. How far do you want to go?
1000!
2000!
2,000. And of course, this will be for all jobs, including disciples of the land and hand.
Blue Mage?
All right, next, I want to talk a little bit about some of 7.0's core battle content. We have some new things to show you as well. So, active time events, the fates, the hunt, treasure hunts, we're going to have all these.
たくさんあります。
And of
Wow.
course, we're working on many new dungeons as well.
Oh, das sieht sehr anders aus als...
This is a dungeon.
Okay.
Okay, and we're going to have at least as many dungeons as we've had in the past expansions. Right, so next, let's take a look at some art and screenshots showcasing a few of those dungeons in development. But yeah, this art, this is awfully new.
まずスクリーンショット1枚目。
All right, off to our first screenshot. This is a dungeon.
Dungeon?
This is a dungeon. Dungeon? Area? Dungeon.
It's a dungeon.
It's a dungeon.
Yes.
Okay, as long as you're sure.
Ja, ich nehme halt an, dass
So yeah, when
da
people think
die ganze Zeit
dungeons,
Viecher
usually think
spawnen,
like
während man da
caves,
auf dem Fluss
but
quasi
looks like this
rumfährt
one
mit
will
dem,
start off
mit
as
dem
a
Floß
river
da.
cruise. But I'll let you imagine what kind of battles and player interactions are going to go on here. I don't want to fall in the river, though. No, not a good idea.
ねえ。
Like
なんか
crocodiles,
そう。
piranhas.
こちら
So I know this looks a lot like artwork, but this is an actual in-game screenshot.
なのか、
Das
川
ist
下りなの
in-game?
か、それらを向かった先がこんな感じです。
So yeah, are we going upriver,
okay.
downriver? Who knows? But at the end of the cruise, this is what awaits. So yeah, the team that actually worked, one of the members of the team that actually worked on this, and the environment team is here today, and is going to be up here on stage. So looking forward to meeting and hearing what he has to say about this. All right, and now we're somewhere completely different. This also is one of the new dungeons. This is also very, yeah, it looks like art. So is this somewhere outside or inside? Is it a part of something? Are those natural formations or man-made? And what are those purple things growing everywhere? And here's another look of the same dungeon, but up from a little
Wie so
higher.
eine
明ら
Bergfestung.
かに
wenn man so nach und nach quasi hochläuft. Wahrscheinlich bis ganz nach oben auf den Gipfel.
So yes, we can see some strange architecture that resembles ancient ruins.
Sumax.
So yes, this is far different from any place the warriors of light have journeyed before. So finally, we have some artwork for 2 more dungeons that we'd like to show you, but you're going to have to use your imaginations to visualize how they're going to turn out in-game. So this is our first.
Okay.
It's a dungeon.
It's a dungeon.
It's a dungeon.
It's a dungeon.
But again, this also has that look of sturdily built ancient ruins to it.
Ja, das sieht so ein bisschen aus wie dieses Rokan-Zeug, was wir hatten in Shadowbringers.
Okay, but what you see here is not concept art. In fact, the level design for the dungeon is already complete, and this artwork was created to help the modeling team.
Ihr wisst, was ich meine. Die Great Serpent freut sich.
So now, artwork like this usually has a lot of text written in the margins to help the designers. It's filled with lore and secrets. But we just kind of cut that out because, to avoid spoilers. Okay,
ja, das war das.
One.
Ja. Alter, links ein riesiger PC-Lüfter.
Summer vacation?
Links oben.
Summer vacation.
Summer vacation.
Yes.
Okay.
Ja, ich glaube, das ist irgendwas ganz Neues.
This is a dungeon for the 7.0 main scenario, but again, unlike the nature that we've seen before, this has a lot of mech. So yes, it looks like Dawn Trail is going to be a little bit more than your ordinary summer vacation.
Ich dachte halt zuerst, es sieht so ein bisschen aus wie irgendwas aus Ultima Thule, aber es ergibt storytechnisch halt überhaupt keinen Sinn. Und es sieht auch so ein bisschen anders aus von den Details her. Also ist das wahrscheinlich irgendwas ganz Neues. Die finden dann wahrscheinlich irgend so eine hochentwickelte Kacke halt irgendwie so unterirdisch oder sowas.
And this one is not a raid boss like Valagarmanda that we showed in Las Vegas, but we have a very important and large enemy to show you.
Wow.
名前をですね、今回ご紹介するのはエリミネーター。どんどん。
Now we can't tell you much about it yet or exactly how you meet, but it's obvious that we're going against expectations for Dawn Trail so far. Again, it's hard to tell if this is a machine or if it is alive or something in between. Okay, next up we have our duty support feature, and you'll be happy to know that this feature will be made available for all of the instance dungeons for 7.0's main scenario.
Just don't give it a limit cut, please.
And of course, there's going to be a lot of new characters.
Alter, im Chat extreme Resident Sleepers.
Duty support feature. But that means our game designers and programmers are having to work a lot on all of the new AI. And with all these new dungeons and enemies, the Warrior of Light will need some proper new gear, and we have a lot of new recipes to make sure that you're properly kitted. And of course, we'll be introducing a lot of fashionable items as well. So let's take a closer look at some artwork for these new items.
Oh wow.
All right, Disciples of the Land in Hand will of course be getting new job-specific gear as well.
That's a drip.
So we're currently in the modeling phase of development with our new graphical update. So for now, you're going to have to imagine how these designs will look when rendered in-game. And here we have some job-specific gear for the Disciples of War and Magic.
Okay.
We don't need to tell you what jobs these are for, right? Okay, instead of designing the gear to match more of the geographical or cultural feel of Dureal, we decided to take a much more straightforward approach with their design.
Finde ich gut.
So, as I mentioned back in Las Vegas, we are planning some expansive new lifestyle content for Dawn Trail. This will be new content that will be featured alongside existing content such as Ishgardian Restoration and Island Sanctuary. So the plan was to show you that new content here, but the team in charge didn't think it was quite ready and wanted just a little bit more time.
Oh, ich sehe Schoko im Chat. New Ocean Fishing.
Until Tokyo, so we have to wait a little bit longer. All right, they just heard your cheering, and so now they're like, oh, gotta get back to work. So thanks. So while Island Sanctuary was more solo content, this new content that we have planned for Dawn Trail is going to be something that you can enjoy with a lot of people.
Andere Menschen?
さて、では各種バトルコンテンツもご紹介しましょう。
Ultimate!
All right, we mentioned battle content a little earlier, but we have a lot more.
Oh, das ist Bingo. Das ist Bingo, Leute, das ist Bingo.
So we'll be adding new
Wir haben
dungeons,
Bingo.
a new A-player raid, and a new ultimate raid that will be just as challenging as those that become before.
Hier. Grafik-Update, new Ultimate, new Map Reveal. Wir haben Bingo. Wir haben es geschafft.
And of course, we can't forget our alliances out there. And so, here in London, we are excited to finally announce our latest Alliance Raid series.
Oh, okay. Das ist, okay, das habe ich nicht erwartet, aber interessant.
Thank you.
Ich weiß nicht so recht, was ich davon halten soll, weil ich habe halt Final Fantasy XI nie gespielt. Aber die Leute rasten aus, also.
So our newest Alliance
Mal
raid
gucken.
is Echoes of Vanadil.
Bin gespannt.
So, to celebrate over 20 years of Final Fantasy XI, we are turning to our MMORPG Senpai and stepping into Vanadil to get a glimpse of this wonderful, exciting world. As for what story will feature, who you will meet, what bosses you will fight, we can't tell you that. But we can guarantee that it will be something that longtime fans of Final Fantasy XI, and even players of fans right now, will be able to truly enjoy. So, speaking of which, I have a question for all of you. How many people out there are
Der
still
neue
playing
Job
11?
sieht underwhelming aus. Ich sehe es genau andersrum. Ich find's mega geil. Ich freue mich mega drauf. Vor allem ist es halt genau mein Ding, so zwei Langschwerter einfach. Das ist die Klasse, die mir am Anfang gefehlt hat. Hätte es das am Anfang gegeben, wäre ich wahrscheinlich kein Tank geworden.
So yes, thank all of you who've been supporting Square Enix.
Also das wird wahrscheinlich mein neuer Main DPS dann. Dann muss der Samurai leider auf die Bank. Außer der spielt sich jetzt halt natürlich komplett scheiße, aber kann ich mir fast nicht vorstellen.
So again, please look forward to it.
Ja, du bist halt hier die ganze Zeit so am Rumschlitzen die ganze Zeit, so relativ schnell. Und für die fetten Potency-Skills machst du dann halt mit deinem, diese Kombination mit den beiden Klingen, machst du halt so einen fetten Move.
I'm not going to explain each of them here, but
Blue Mage!
So yes, you can expect updates.
Ich glaube, jetzt hat
all
jeder
content you see
Bingo.
here.
Spätestens jetzt hat jeder ein Bingo. Ohne flashy Stuff. Ja, wir haben ja noch nicht so viel gesehen. Was haben wir gesehen? Ich glaube, die haben gezeigt die 1-2-3-Kombo und einen großen Skill oder so. Das war ja auch nicht viel. Oh, was? Huh?
All right, to go alongside Blue Mage, we are currently working on an all-new second limited job. But again, its release isn't currently planned until the latter half of the 7.x series.
What the fuck? Okay, darüber bin ich sehr überrascht. Weil ich hatte die ganze Zeit den Eindruck, dass sie das Blue Mage-Zeug eher so ein bisschen... Die wollen eigentlich gar nicht so dran arbeiten, aber die Leute wollen es halt und deswegen hauen sie ab und zu mal was rein. Dass sie jetzt noch einen zweiten Job machen in der Art, das ist eine Überraschung. Ja, Beastmaster? Genau, Beastmaster oder sowas wäre halt fitting. Weil da könntest du halt rumgehen und quasi die Monster so capturen, so Pokémon-mäßig. Und sowas wäre halt wahrscheinlich auch schwer zu balancen für eine Party. Deswegen könnte ich mir das schon gut vorstellen, dass das sowas ist, ja.
But yeah, we're really excited. We're working on a lot of different ideas, something that we can do that's separate from party play, similar to how it is with the Blue Mage. So yeah, please look forward to it. While we can't say any more here, we do hope to reveal more information very, very soon. All right, so now that we've talked about our content updates, I'd like to move on to the planned first graphical update.
Okay. A Rebel-born relic weapons? Maybe?
Okay. So after showing everyone our progress with the graphical update back in Las Vegas, we got a lot of player feedback. Over the past few months, we've taken that feedback and we've made even further adjustments. So how many people here have an Aura character? All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the auras, horns and scales.
Die Leute rasten so aus, als wüssten wir das nicht schon längst.
Again, we've been tweaking it a lot with our new graphical update.
Ja, da war gerade irgendeine Person so richtig laut am Schreien. Das war definitiv ein
So
Aura-Main.
yes, our main goal was to introduce these fine adjustments that won't feel too drastic and ruin that unique look that we've all gotten used to. And if you recall, this includes
glaub, die ist
tweaks and
gerade
polishing
umgekippt.
things like the aura horns and scales. Okay, so first off, we're going to start by showing you what we showed you back in Las Vegas. All right, and this is what we showed you last time.
Genau. Ich habe ja damals schon gesagt, als wir das zum ersten Mal gesehen haben, bei den Aura sieht man das am krassesten, das Grafik-Update.
Back in Las
Weil,
Vegas, the horns and scales that we showed you were very
Ja.
reflective and had a very strong enamel type of feel, and it was not something that a lot of people had expected.
okay, also das haben sie nochmal geändert jetzt. Ich bin gespannt.
And with this reflectivity, I mean, it looks very high quality, so it was good for showing off that improved in quality of the horns. But it didn't really match our vision of what we wanted the aura to look like from our original design back at 3.0. So we continued tweaking. All right, and so this is where we are. It's a very, very small change, so look very, very closely.
Okay. Okay.
Okay? And
Ja, die haben halt, ja, an dem Morgen haben sie die Hörner halt nicht eingeölt.
so we're continuing our work on lowering that reflectivity to be able to get the horn color to something more natural and closer to what we originally intended. So this goes for all of the updates for the other races as well. We've been receiving a lot of feedback, and what we showed you in Las Vegas wasn't the final product, but a work in progress.
Okay.
And so some of you with some very good eyes maybe notice a little line on the neck. And so basically when creating this, we had to rush, and like we just took a head and popped it on a body.
これは大丈夫、治るんで。
We'll fix this, don't worry. So we talked about something very detailed, and so for next we're going to talk about something even more detailed. So as many of you know, the original Final Fantasy XIV was released almost 13 years ago. Then a couple years after that, A Realm Reborn was released to improve upon the original. How many people here have been playing since 1.0?
Oh.
Legacy.
Thank
Ja, so 5.
you. で、そのまあ申請版を
So
作る
5
にあたって
Leute.
ですね、
Und das stimmt wahrscheinlich nicht mal. Die lügen wahrscheinlich, um besser
アレンジしてここ
dazustehen.
までやってきたと。
So when making the move from 1.0 to A Realm Reborn, we didn't have a lot of time. So we ended up having to repurpose some of the original character models for A Realm Reborn. And so now, to coincide with the graphical update, we had to revisit our use of these older 1.0 models. This is going to get really, really detailed, so look carefully.
まあララフェルですね。
Okay, so we have our Lalafell.
これ現在のララフェルです。
This is the
Ekelhaft.
Lalafell that's in game right now.
Bäh.
まあ可愛いですね。
And of course,
Ja, genau,
cute
genau,
as ever.
Chat. Delete. Ja,
ちょっと
ja.
ですね、ここに注目してください。
So I want you to focus on this part of the face.
まあできる限りですね。
Wir haben das ja schon gesehen. Wir haben ja schon gesehen, wie die später aussehen nach dem Grafik-Update, und es ist fast kein
ロー
Unterschied,
ポリ
to
ゴ
be
ンは
honest.
実はですね、ほっぺたの下に
Sehen halt noch genauso scheiße aus wie vorher.
四角いポリゴンを無理やりこう
So, to ensure character models
Die sind halt komplett rund und smooth, sowieso schon. Von der Grundidee her. Deswegen kannst du da halt auch nicht viel raus machen.
And the remnants of those can kind of be seen today in around the cheek and the jawline, those straight lines. Okay, so with the graphical update, however, we went back and we retooled and recreated what is called our normal map data, which in other words is basically this data that's meant to represent the bumps and dips and irregularities of those textures.
Ja, komm, zeig.
その
Okay, however, by doing that, it caused some conflicts with the existing low polygon data that we'd been using since 1.0, creating even these more mysterious bumps and dips in shadows. There, and that's what happened. So you can see kind of there's these bumps on the chin that are kind of affecting the shadows.
Ja.
And so of course you think your Lalafell is the cutest, right?
まあなので味として残していたそのロ
ララ
ーポリゴンのテクニック
Feds are
みたいなものを取っていかないとさらに綺麗にはならないので、まあそういう細かいところまで調整させてもらってますっていうのが今回のお知らせです。
And
Potato
so I know
Coat.
that some people may look at these kind of imperfections born from these old techniques as something that makes Lalafells Lalafells. And you know, we didn't want
Was?
to get rid of them all because we know that that's what makes the Lalafell special. But moving with this graphical update and having something that matches that, we decided it was time to
Was?
at least touch them up.
Genau, das gehört zu einem Lalafell dazu. Das gehört zur Rasse, dass man da so blöde Bumps im Face hat. Ja. Mhm. Ja. Fühl ich.
影がめっちゃ自然になったの分かります？
So you can tell that like the shadow is now much more natural.
すごい
Wow.
細かいんですけど。
Amazing.
Very, very, you have to look very, very
Jetzt
closely.
werde ich direkt Lalafeld spielen. Oh, nee.
Could we have not done this like at a different panel? Did it have to be at the keynote?
目をさらに
Ich meine, keine Ahnung, vielleicht gibt es echt so einen Lala-Fanboy da draußen, der das richtig geil findet. Keine Ahnung, mir ist es komplett egal. Ich guck mir die eh nicht an. Ich will das gar nicht sehen.
But again, we wanted to show you this especially because we wanted to show you just how hard we are working on this graphical update. We understand that you all love your characters and we don't want to change your characters, but we do want to make them look a lot better. And so we're working on these tiniest of issues to improve it. I'm there looking at everything. If I see even a hint of a polygon, I'm like, no polygon! And so, again, this is the extent of the work that we're doing, and we wanted to show that with you here today.
Waste of death
That was
hours.
enough talk about the super tiny technical issues. Let's talk about something easy. And so, the glasses. Helmets,
Ach ja, stimmt, man
glasses.
kann jetzt Brillen
What's
anziehen,
easier
einfach so.
than that?
Okay. Genau, man kann jetzt einen Kopfschmuck plus Brillen gleichzeitig anziehen.
All right, so development on that
Insane,
first
man.
graphical update is proceeding
Insane.
smoothly.
Jetzt kann ich auf meinem Paladin die Krone anziehen und noch eine Sonnenbrille. Junge.
So for those of you who want to know more about this topic of graphical update, as well as the kind of techniques that the team uses to create Final Fantasy XIV, we have this great development panel coming up a little bit later that will show you all about how we do this and show you even some of the tools that we use.
Genau, good point gerade im Chat, habe ich auch schon gesagt.
It's going to be really interesting. So
Was
we hope
ich
you
mir
look forward to
wünsche,
it and are
ist
here to watch it with us.
Anti-Aliasing. Weil das, was die momentan drin haben, ist einfach nur Müll. Das ist so schlecht, dass ich es nicht mal angemacht habe.
All right, while we're here, we want to remind you one more time about the new minimum and recommended requirements. How many people are ready to go? All right.
Ja, läuft.
About half, that's good. We haven't raised it too much, but please understand. Thank you. All right, so finally today, I want to talk a little bit about the content we have planned before
Ich meine
the release of
79, also
7.0.
to be fair, den PC, den ich hatte vor 5 Jahren oder so, also der hatte schon eine 89, ist, keine Ahnung. Ist auf jeden Fall nicht schlimm. Die Leute sollen man nicht heulen hier.
And our test is scheduled to begin in mid-January and continue through February. So all of our Xbox users out there, we welcome you to join the test and help us make the game great.
Solange ich noch auf meine 72 FPS komme, bin ich zufrieden. Warum 72? Weil ich einen 144 Hertz Monitor habe. Und das ist genau die Hälfte. Geil, Fall Guys, yeah! Das ist halt das Beste, was ich haben kann, weil ich brauche keine vollen 144, weil das ist... Ab einem bestimmten Punkt ist es dir halt egal. Und es ist halt mehr als 60. Von daher sieht alles super smooth aus. Und es ist halt wirklich genau die Hälfte von meiner Refresh Rate. Das heißt, ich brauche auch keinen Scheiß wie V-Sync oder so. Also bei mir gibt es kein Zerren oder so und es ist alles super flüssig. Deswegen 72. Weil ich verstehe, wenn das so auf den ersten Blick ein bisschen komisch aussieht vielleicht, aber... Ist sehr nice, ja. Alter, das sieht richtig cursed aus, holy shit.
Thank you.
Oh, ein Halloween kommt das schon.
All right, you've been waiting a long time for this. Fall Guys will finally be available in the gold saucer.
パッチ6.51ということで、実装日出てますね。10月31日パッチ6.51リリースとなります。
All right, and as it says here, it's planned for release on October 35th. Patch 6.51.
Now this is pod racing.
もうすぐだね。
Yes, in just a week. So as you saw in the trailer, this collaboration will maintain that Fall Guys aesthetic. We had people from the Fall Guys dev team help us out and make sure that we followed that. But it will also feature this unique Final Fantasy XIV spin on all the frenetic Fall Guys gameplay we know and love.
Und Farm noch.
Okay, so one unique characteristic with this content is that it's not always going to be open. There will be periods of time where it is available and then period of times when it's not available. And we'll be repeating that over a cycle.
Okay. Also es wird nicht ganz verschwinden, aber es ist nur manchmal da. Okay.
Again, we want to keep the balance between the two games and keep that fair, so we're going to have, again, times on and times off, so you can enjoy the Fall Guys content and then go back to other content.
Man, für Dureal, ich weiß nicht mal. Also ich muss ja schon die Main Story mit Paladin durchspielen. Also der wird dann auf jeden Fall zuerst 100, nehme ich an, aber ich glaube direkt danach mache ich dann Viper. Und kann dann so ein bisschen kürzere Queues haben mit Tank. Und danach, wenn die meisten schon gelevelt haben, mit ihren DPS, dann kann ich vielleicht nachziehen. Dann ist es vielleicht nicht mehr so schlimm. Clive! Come to me, Ifrit! Ist das, von den Mechaniken sieht das ja aus wie der alte Ifrit, den wir schon haben, ne? Nur quasi reworked. Clyde! Oh, Torge! Oh, Torgelmaut! Junge, ab geht's! Yo! Und Baby Torge Minion! Oh shit, Alter, Pet the Torge!
That's right, we can finally announce our Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy XVI crossover event.
The Path Infernal. Ooh.
Final Fantasy XVI.
So yeah, I asked the producer on Final Fantasy XVI, you might know him, Naoki Yoshida. He said it was okay, so here we go. That's right. All right, it's called The Path Infernal, and of course will feature 16's protagonist, Clive Rosfield, fighting alongside the Warriors of Light.
Okay. Aber er ist doch tot.
もちろんまだまだ Final Fantasy XVI 未プレイド
The story, so that it doesn't spoil too
You
much
cock.
of 16 for those players who have yet to play Final Fantasy XVI, are looking to buy a PlayStation 5 this Christmas, or maybe waiting for the PC version. But there's enough in it so that everyone should have a lot of fun. Rest assured, there'll be a lot of unique loot for this collab, including gear. Oh yeah, but if you do put on the rings of the timely rings, then your item level is going to go down. So I don't know. So again, we'd like you to think of this collaboration as kind of an introduction to the world of Final Fantasy XVI for all of our Final Fantasy XIV players. We can't wait for you to get your hands on this new content, and we're currently developing alongside Final Fantasy XVI DLC and the PC version. And of course, you know, we got the okay from the producer, and he told us that, you know, it was okay to go. So we're going to do it. Okay, so next up we have a final announcement.
Okay.
All right, as I talked about recently, we have a cloud server, cloud data center stress test coming up. Basically, up until now, all of our data centers have been using physical servers. And we want to do this test with the cloud servers to make it easier to expand these. And so, to help do this, we need your help with the test.
Man weiß aber nicht, was für einen Cloud-Service sie benutzen, oder?
The past several years exploring this possibility of
Amazon
expanding our
Cloud
data
oder sonst
centers via the
irgendwas.
cloud servers, and we're at a point now that we need your help to help us with, you know, find out any kind of things and issues that may occur. Again, we would deeply appreciate your participation, as it will help us continue to expand our game and our community. So we're going to talk a little bit about what this test entails. So the test will be conducted via our North American East Coast data center. That said, we encourage players from all over the world in Europe,
50
Japan,
Millionen
to
Gil
join
nur?
the test.
Lächerlich.
日本の方もぜひよろしくお願いします
Players from Japan as well, you're welcome to
Lächerlich.
join.
新規キャラクターのみ
Peanuts.
Alright, so
Kann
we're
ich mir ja
going
gar
to
nichts
ask
leisten.
players to create new characters for the test, but unfortunately we're going to have to wipe those characters after the test is over.
Okay, und was kriege ich dafür?
And as you can see, there are several other restrictions, but to help players jump right into the test right away, we will be offering Tales of Adventure for all the main scenario and all the main jobs. And also going to give you 50 million gil. Again, we won't be asking players to play a certain way. We just need to have you come in and enjoy as much content as possible. And again, we hope that you all join us in this test.
Ich mache mir einen Charakter und lasse die ganze Zeit das Spiel offen und mache die ganze Zeit nur so einen Duty-Support-Dungeon und chill einfach die ganze Zeit. Wenn das jeder macht, dann werden die so richtig überlastet.
Alright, so before we wrap things up this morning, there's one last slide I'd like to show you. All new DurealTV artwork by the one, the only Yoshitaka Amano.
Oh. Da geht mir immer so ein bisschen das Herz auf, wenn ich sein Artwork sehe.
Final Fantasy III をねちょっと彷彿とさせるような
Something about this artwork reminds me a lot of the original Final Fantasy III artwork.
天野先生も、
And Amano-san really enjoys making artwork for Final Fantasy XIV, and he created this in a short amount of time.
Ja, so nachmittags mal kurz hingehockt, weißt du, 5 Minuten einfach mal hingeklatscht, ja.
Alright, that's all for today's keynote. I can't say any more, but I will be able to talk more when we see you again next at our keynote at Tokyo Fan Festival. Thank you. So now it's time to move into our opening ceremony. You need both swords for the opening ceremony.
もうクリッカーいらないからさ
Okay. Weapon change.
とても
Ja,
とて
gut, also
も
ich mein,
スペシャルなゲストにお越しいただいております
Alright, but before we move
Ziemlich
to the opening
excited
ceremony,
über die
I
neue
first need
Klasse.
to summon a very important guest here with us for FanFest. The father of Final Fantasy.
Ach ja, stimmt, der ist ja auch da. Sakaguchi-san, yeah!
So it's been about 2 years since you started Final Fantasy XIV?
Oh yeah, hardcore.
ここみんな非課線なんですよね。
So everybody here is a warrior of light?
Warrior of Light
すみません、仲間です。
Yeah, I am one of
仲間です。
you.
まだ2年のちょっと新人ですけど仲間です。
Although I've only been playing for 2 years, so I'm rather new to the scene.
もう毎日
So wie ich?
ほぼインして、14が僕の生活の 30% ぐらいを占めている。もう本当に
Der hat quasi mit mir angefangen, Mann.
So I've been
So
logging in every
Sakaguchi und mir,
day,
Alter.
and I think it takes up about a third of my life, basically. So I just love 14.
ご用意してますので
Für ihn muss das ja auch ein verdammt geiles
最後まで
Erlebnis
プレイ
sein.
ヤーのもう本当光の戦士として来たっておっ
Weil
しゃって
wirklich
ました
so
んで
alle Final Fantasy da
Sakaguchi-san will be here with
zusammenkommen
us,
auch.
for the next 2 days for stages, for signing sessions. So if you see him, please, sir, to make you say hello because he's one of us.
あ、今日はね、一つお礼を言いたくて。
Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention. I wanted to show
Yoshida-san.
my gratitude to you, Yoshida-san.
カッパありがとうございます。
Thank you for that costume.
もうカッパ最高でございます。
I love that outfit. Thank you so much for that.
カッパのコスプレ作りましょうか
So do we need to make some cosplay for you for that?
やりましょうか。
Yes, please.
じゃあ改めまして、光の戦士の皆さん放送見てる皆さんにも一言何かご挨拶お願い
Alright,
できますか
so do you have a message for us here as well as everyone watching on the stream?
もう本当に世界中の方が見てらっしゃる。
見てらっしゃいますはい
Everybody around the world is watching, huh?
Yeah.
カッパありがとう。
Thank you for the kappa imp outfit.
まあ本当にこれだけ大勢の人でもちろん 見てる
Ganze
方
Chat voller Kapazit.
そういう
And so there's so many people watching here as well as on the live stream, and it's just amazing to think how we can meet with each other in Final Fantasy XIV and go on our adventure together. It's such a wonderful place, this Final Fantasy XIV, so I really want to show my gratitude from the bottom of my heart. I would love to continue on this journey with you all.
さあではこれから2日間皆さん盛り上がっていきますので、ここからは開発チーム運営チームのみんなも登場してオープニングセレモニーに移っていきたいと思います。
All right, so let's have a great 2 days. And to help us, let us welcome to the stage our development and operations team.
Clap, clap, clap. Ja, also neuer Job, sehr, sehr excited, weil eigentlich genau das, was ich die ganze Zeit machen wollte als DPS. Neue Locations sehen sehr, sehr, sehr gut aus, also gerade mit der Flora, die es da so gibt, also die Gräser und die Bäume und so. Da sieht man halt so richtig, was die jetzt da alles Neues machen können mit der neuen Grafik-Engine. Und ja, ansonsten sieht halt nach mehr von dem aus, was wir eh schon die ganze Zeit hatten, womit ich gar kein Problem habe. Viele machen halt Resident Sleeper immer das Gleiche, aber ich meine, es macht halt Spaß, ne? Also es macht halt Spaß, so wie es ist. Deswegen gehe ich davon aus, dass es auch in der Zukunft weiter Spaß machen wird. Aber hey, to be fair, ich spiele das ja auch erst seit fast 2 Jahren jetzt. Und ich kann mir gut vorstellen, ja, keine Ahnung, wenn es echt Leute gibt, die schon 10 Jahre mehr dabei sind, dann klar, vielleicht wird es dann mal langweilig, wenn es immer mehr oder weniger das gleiche Schema ist, aber ich persönlich freue mich auf jeden Fall drauf und bin excited und vor allem bin ich auch gespannt, wie das dann aussieht, wenn die ganzen alten Sachen auch noch ein Grafik-Update kriegen und ja, neue Story, Mann. FF16 Collab, auch geil. Toggle Mount müssen wir uns auf jeden Fall holen. Es ist mehr von dem gleichen, nur so viel davon, wie wir noch nie hatten. Ja, stimmt eigentlich. Also die haben sehr, also gut, wir kriegen jetzt kein neues Borscha oder Eureka. Habe ich so ein paar Leute im Chat meckern sehen. Aber ganz ehrlich, also so enjoyable fand ich die Dinger eh nicht. Dafür kriegen wir halt zum Beispiel einen neuen Limited Job, was mich sehr überrascht hat. Oder ist okay. Never mind.
What did you think of the new music in the music in the new trailer?
Hatten Sie nicht gesagt, es kommt eine Exploration Zone? Sie haben auf jeden Fall gemeint, dass so eine Art neues Island Sanctuary kommt. Also nicht Island Sanctuary Update, sondern nochmal ein neues Ding, was so ähnlich wohl sein wird. Klingt aber auf jeden Fall relativ entspannt. Also ich glaube nicht, dass das irgendwie so ein Battleground sein wird. Ach genau, auf das Allianz-Raid bin ich halt auch mal gespannt. Weil ich kenne mich mit FF11 gar nicht aus. Also wirklich überhaupt nicht. Es gab ja irgendwie diese eine Collab-Quest gab es ja damals. In FF14 mit FF11. Aber ansonsten, ich weiß halt, dass es hier Shantotto gibt. Oder wie sie heißt. Kleine Black Mage-Tussi. Aber sonst, ich weiß halt wirklich gar nichts über den Teil. Von daher ist das vielleicht mal ganz interessant, das neue Alliance-Raid dann auch zu sehen. Und da mal so ein bisschen vielleicht die Story mitzuerleben, ich weiß es nicht. Werden wir dann sehen. So, jo, aber ich glaube, die sind durch mit allem interessanten Kram. Die machen jetzt hier die Opening-Ceremony für das Fanfest. Dann würde ich sagen, ich klinge mich hier nochmal aus, Leute. Aber jo, danke fürs Zugucken, danke fürs Mitfiebern und Mitfeiern. Ich freue mich auf den neuen Patch auf jeden Fall und ich hoffe, ihr auch. Und, Alter, let's go Dual Wield. Haut da rein, wir sehen uns später. Ciao, ciao. Mann, das passt mit der Musik auch so gut vom Timing her. Ciao.